Well, my guest for the morning, I have Kojo Semenyi. He's a member of parliament for Goverment East. Thanks for joining me. He's the MP who has advertised his number in his constituency. Are you getting some calls?
Hello, of course.
Yeah. How do you manage it?
When I'm less busy, I pick them up. When I'm not, my assistant.
You said that on TV. When you're less busy.
No, when I'm working, like I'm here, somebody will pick the calls on my behalf. My assistant.
So where's the phone? It's outside.
I have one here, and I have.
Oh, you display more than one number?
Yeah, 2 numbers.
Charlie. Which networks?
MTN.
MTN.
Yeah, both are MTN.
Right. He's also in the studio with Edward Bauer, Member of Parliament for Bongo. Thanks for joining me, Eddie.
Thanks for having me, Roland.
All right. So we have to do those discussions, but we know topically, among many of the things, the minister has been going through many of the areas in the Western region. We'll bring you a piece about the minister visiting many of those areas, and Latif Idris will be apprising us of the latest in this piece that is coming up next.
The journey took the task force to Dominasi, Jurata Kunta, and Hiawa, all in the Western region, and the first port of call was to a mining site in Dominasi in the Nzima East district.
When we start the reclamation process, as I already noted, there is going to be a sustained combat and militant, supervision process in place, which is going to last a minimum of 1 year. And so we don't expect that. A good question somebody asks is, in attempt to reclaim, people will come back and do the digging. Because there's going to be supervision, the police, the military, the law enforcement agencies will be around. We expect to maintain, what we are witnessing now. So it is important that the reclamation, as you rightly put it, will start as early as possible. That is number one. Number two, it's to begin to look for the alternative livelihood for these people. Of course, these are the guys that will be brought into the MMIP.
At Hiase, the task force arrested this sole miner who was busily mining for gold despite the ban. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewu, ordered the task force to seize the pumping machine he was using at the site.
The nonsense you are doing around here, you are killing people. And that is what we are against. We will allow you to mine, but we will teach you how to do it in a very nice way. But this very one, we will not allow you. You have to pack. Were you told that you need to pack and leave the site? We have traveled over almost the whole of this region. Most of your friends have left. You are still working. Why?
The miner explained why he defied the order to end mining and begged the minister to return his pumping machine.
I
am doing this because of hunger. Of course, I've heard about the ban, but I lost count of the dates. That's why I'm here today. But I can assure you that I'm packing my tools and I'm leaving site immediately. Second port of call was Prestia, where the 2 deputy ministers paid a courtesy call on the divisional chief of the area. The 2 deputy ministers were met with a protest by the youth of the area, who are predominantly into Galamsey.
From Volta region on Abo.
Chamfine operators are mostly from the Volta region, and the authorities are also part. We do not want those machines here. We want the authorities to allow us to continue our activities, especially those of us who do not destroy the water bodies. We made the police arrest those using the Chamfine machine to destroy the water bodies. They are the main culprits, and we think government should rather direct its energy by arresting those who engage in Chamfine operations.
The hashtag which is running, of course, is no to Galamsey, and I am for it. So the hashtag is no to Galamsey. From Prestia, which is the hub of mining in the country, this has been Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.
Mr. Semenyi, very interesting, especially reception that the minister seemed to have gotten at Prestia. At Himine, for example, the residents were not too happy, especially with this whole initiative to make sure that we streamline the sector.
Yeah. Interestingly, people think that it's a survivor issue. And
why is it not?
Because they don't have alternatives. Because they think that that is the only thing. Their minds are skewed towards galamsey, and they feel that that is where they can get their daily bread. But if they are just going to pause for a moment and allow opportunities that also abound be thrown to them, so that they know where and what they can do that can also equally get them income without destroying our environment, I think they will come to that realization that no, what they are doing is so out of place. I think that so far I'm happy about a concerted effort by everybody. We all understand that these guys depend on it, but we also understand that the continuous mining of our gold through this illegal activity is a threat to the whole of the nation, and we can't we can't be assured of even clean water in the coming years if we continue like this. So both political device, civil society organizing, everybody is now, and you, the journalist, you are on board, and this makes this new fight against galamsey very, very, significant. And I'm trusting and I'm very confident that the minister and his deputies, then also the presidency will tighten the fight and make sure we deal with this once and for all. The danger is where we've gotten to if we don't keep our legs on the accelerator and make sure that we end it once and for all, then we would have fought a lost battle. Because if we don't finish this fight and we allow, we get to a point and we stop, I think we'll be doomed forever. So far, I think that I like what is happening.
Eddie, why do you think the residents are perhaps reacting the way they are? Or even those who are into the mining itself, whether illegally or not, are reacting the way they are?
Yeah, thank you very much. And then good morning to your viewers. And then again, of course, to my constituents, those who will be watching. Roland, it is clear that for any nation to survive, you must do the right things. If you don't do the right things, things will go terrible for you. All natural resources, whether it is oil, whether it is mineral, that's metals, must be exploited in a sustainable manner. And Ghana cannot be an exception when it comes to issues like that. The current practice in Ghana, particularly with our metals, whether it is gold, whether it's bauxite, it's diamond, what have you, we seem to be moving on a path that seems to suggest that we are not exploiting this in a very sustainable manner, particularly at a time when you realize that, one, our water bodies are in danger, two, our forest reserves are going, and to a very large extent, our very existence is being threatened. So these are facts that must be there. So the current campaign is in the right direction, and I think that it has a bipartisan support. It has a whole national support. You have a situation where even media have also, as part of their contribution, are pushing for this thing to be kept, as it were. That being said, now to direct it to your question, you indicate why are these people protesting? That's why we as politicians must always be very careful. Our utterances during periods when we want to seek the mandate of the people. You'll recall that under the NDC, under John Mohammed's government, under the leadership of Inusa Fuseni, we had a serious war against illegal mining, particularly those who were engaged in the exploitation of these metals in an unsustainable manner. Particularly, we even targeted the Chinese, if you remember. As part of it, you realize that the NPP, under that particular period, within that particular period, had gone to certain communities, the mining communities, to promise them that, look, when we come back, we will let you go on with your jobs. We'll streamline the activities and ensure that you still are in business. in terms of the mining, told these people this. And that's exactly what they wanted to hear. Now, you win power, and they think that, quote and unquote, the devilish NDC party has moved out of power. And the NPP, which is supposed to be the savior and the protector of their business, is in power.
Okay, we have to continue the conversation because we have the minister and we know that he's doing many of the rounds this morning. Okay. Good morning to you, Mr. Peter Amewu.
Good morning and good morning to you, listeners.
Okay, now for the areas that you're visiting, and the residents seem to be reacting, perhaps not in protestations, but not taking kindly to your actions as a team and also as a minister. What have you been telling them in the first place?
Well, thank you. First of all, it's important to make it clear to Ghanaian people to understand that this government is not against mining. This government is not anti-mining government at all. We put it clearly in our manifesto that because of the devastations, pollutions, and the nuisance effects caused by the mining activities, we will sanitize the system and regularize the process of mining in this country. Precisely, this is exactly what we're doing. We don't want Ghanaians to misunderstand what we are doing now. Currently, there is a 5 to 6 month moratorium on all mining, small-scale mining activities. We have completely suspended issues of new licenses, and we are engaging all stakeholders involved in the mining industry, specifically the illegal miners and the small miners, to see how we can regularize it. Yesterday, I had a very lengthy discussion with the Small Scale Association of Ghana, and I'm extremely excited of the outcome of the discussion. They were very happy and walked home with hope for the future. The areas we have visited so far, there seems to be some calm, in terms of the digging in some of the areas. The champions working on all the rivers, of course, some of them have been bent down, and in some areas were, moved out of the rivers. And so there seems to be some element of calm in terms of the ultimatum that was given. Unfortunately, most of the excavators that were used in the digging activities were still parked in some of the homes. And I continue to say that excavators are not cutlery present. I don't see the business they are doing in the various homes. And the thinking is that it's likely they may think of returning back to site. It was based on those thinking that we've asked them to move those excavators out from the various homes, places that they got them from. Because it was clear from our visit that the miners do go and hire this from funds.
Now, the excavators that have been seized, where are they? Hello, sir. Well, we seem to have lost him. So we'll re-establish the line and then we'll talk. Hello, sir. So you were saying?
Yeah, so I was indicating that. You see, the promises that were made to these people are what, to a very large extent,
they are reacting to.
Yeah, people are reacting to. You see, let's be very careful about what you put in a document called a manifesto and what you tell people on the platforms. Today, you have, I'm just using just as an example to prove to you why I'm saying this. Today, you have a finance minister who comes to tell you that he can't remember they promising that they were going to pay DKM, victims of the DKM and God is love issues. You have a budget that is silent on that. Meanwhile, you have a situation where in Nkranza, the president now then candidate stood there and indicated that they were going to ensure that the DKM...
So your point is what?
The point I'm trying to make is that don't let us be deceived by the fact that it was never captured. Because see, when you are campaigning, yes, you have a document that you have as a manifesto, but your utterances, are also part of the pledges. And that's what we are trying to hold. So there's no what is in their manifesto.
We've been joined back on the line by John Peter Amewu, who is a minister for lands and natural resources. Now, you were saying something before you went off the phone, sir.
Where did I went off the phone, please? Where was that?
Okay, it's at the point of the seizure of the excavators, where you find them, etc.
Yeah. So most of these excavators, as I've stated, were parked in the various spots. And the thinking was that the likelihood of them being returned to the various areas of digging is quite very high. It was based on those understandings that we asked that those excavators be moved to their various places. Most of them, about 80%, of course, were rented. Now, what we intend doing going forward is the production of the MMIT project, which is a 5-year project called the Multilateral Mining Integrated Project. This project will, apply technology and enforcement of law, basically, and that is what it's going to do. And so all excavators, number one, that will henceforth be working on mining sites will be looked at differently from those who own the concession. What it means is that they will sit on an authorization before they can be allowed to work in mining sites. And based on that authorization, they will be tracked. And so if you are licensed to work in track A, there is no way you should be found working in track B, because your location at any particular point in time will be identified.
Okay. Now, I would want to clarify this, because you're saying, well, the government of the MPP or government is not against mining in a way. Hello. We seem to have...
but I think he's made his point. He's made his point, in my opinion, because it's nothing new. The point I'm just trying to make is, I see you were asking me what was the link between the DKM thing and then the mining thing. Yeah. The point was, the point basically is this: is it no political party in its right senses will put in its manifesto that we are going to support illegal miners. Nobody will do that. But so they will give you all the nice stuff that you need in a manifesto. You judge a political party and it's this based on what he says on the platform. Because sometimes they think that people are not there, but because they are desperate to get votes, they tell them what they want to hear. Now, if you read some of the portals that we have a situation where even one of the deputy ministers, who happens to be an MP in one of the mining areas, is being threatened that they will vote her out. The reason being that at the time she was campaigning to be an MP, had promised that he was going to protect them. You have a situation where the people themselves, your own reporter, I've just read...
Hold on to that. He's back on the line. You're in the studio, so it's okay. Mr. Amewu, you're back.
Hello.
Sir. I'm asking...
come again.
The question I want us to clarify on is that you're saying government is not against small-scale mining. That's the case, right?
Precisely.
Okay. Now, before all this started, were we taken by event, perhaps maybe the media blitz, and so we straight away just started this, or we had a plan of perhaps while we evict them from the mining site, perhaps give them something to do in the interim before we do the measures to make sure that they...
No, not at all. I think we have a very elaborate plan, and we are just working in accordance with that plan. Okay. We can't say that we should, allow people to be polluting waters, destroying forests, cutting down trees, degrading the environment, and allow this to continue because we have no alternative livelihood for them. The cost of externality is far, far higher than the return in terms of output gains some of those guys, derive from their activities. Yesterday, I was just working a common example to some of those people, the gold output over the year in terms of the small scale and how much it costs to do reclamation. Externalities far exceed that output. And so what are we doing? Now, there is an elaborate plan for our alternatives, because we are not totally farming these people, we are suspending our activities for the next 6 months. We will re-engage them. The reclamation alone, covers almost about 2% to 3% of the land surface of Ghana, which is ranging to almost about 5,000, 6,000 kilometers square. That will provide jobs for the various communities. We are not going to give reclamations, on contract. Reclamations will be given to the various communities. They know where these pits are.
Ms. Amewu?
Ms. Amewu? Hello?
Yeah, I understand all that you're saying. It's good English, etc. But the point is that we're talking about people's livelihoods. Now, if they have been dependent on an industry, one, that is illegal, but gives them some sort of earnings for which they have to work the earth and so get something and their families would have to feed on. In the interim, when you start your MMIT program, what do they do in the interim? They go and reclaim land?
What I stated clearly. What is reclamation? Do the bit. Is that not going to give you money in your pocket?
Compared to the Galamsey activities you are doing? Because there's an incentive.
Are you weighing the intensity of the value?
Well, I'm not. I'm asking about people's livelihoods, and at the end of the day,
what do you mean by livelihood?
The alternative that you give them, is that an incentive, or does that incentivize them more than going back to the pit? That's all I'm asking.
What is your view?
Well, you are the minister.
Oh no, we're working collectively as a country. What is your view?
Well, my view is that before you started this, then you would have provided something more sustainable or perhaps equitable for them as far as what they were doing.
The sustainable alternative is the reclamation exercise, which is going to commence very soon. The other alternative is after 6 months, when we have sanitized the system, we're going to re-engage all of these guys back to the field. Those that want to work in a small-scale mining will work under a supervision, under a high level of monitoring. Engagement with mining companies and local Ashanti has relinquished almost 60% of the concessions in Obuasi to government. Those concessions are available.
Well, that's why I'm asking, in the interim, what do they do? In the interim, before you...
By the interim?
Do they go and reclaim? And if they go and
where the interim means what? From when to when?
Well, you've evicted them. Now you go to those areas and they meet you with a show of force. That's what I'm asking you in the interim. Once you sack them off the pit, what do you want them to do?
In the interim, they are going to do reclamation as soon as possible. We're going to engage them in reclamation.
Have you started that? Because, for example, our correspondent in the Amansia West District is already giving us indications that they've already started packing their excavators along the street and saying they'll go back to those.
Excavators for reclamation. Excavators are not used for, it's not ideal equipment for reclamation. And so those excavators you see on the side, it's not ideal for reclamation. The best equipment for reclamation is the dozer. And so when the time of reclamation comes, which is as soon as possible, we will re-engage them to start the reclamation, planting of trees. Then in the medium to short term, of course, they're going to come in, which is after 6 months. We're going to re-engage them back to the various roads under strict level of monitoring. And that is what the MMIC is about. We cannot allow what's going on to continue. And that is why, as a country, collectively together, the media, are extremely grateful for your activities and work done so far. We need to make sure that we sustain what is happening now in this country in terms of the suspension of mining activities for the small scale and the illegal.
And before I let you go, though, as a media house, as an entity, and myself personally, we have to congratulate you for the good work you've been doing so far. But, well, the question is, your tone seemed to have softened a bit from the time you started. It's become more reconciliatory, very much diplomatic.
No. We're doing this with diplomatic and enforcement, and that is the engagement processes. You recollect when I started with the Chinese. I mean, there are things that can be done certain times, and there are ways to go about it. I can tell you that the government is solidly behind all Ghanaians that will want things to be done in a more sustainable and environmental friendly manner. And so my tone is not something at all. Just 2 days ago, I have fired 9 of the district engineers. I mean, and more of those will be coming, including people at higher authority. If you are given a responsibility and you have to allow it to do it, then the consequences, of course, will come to you. And so I'm not softening my tone. I'm working in collaboration with all Ghanaians, the 27 million Ghanaians, including yourself, who think that it's proper to sanitize the current system.
The opposition, that's the NDC opposition, they support you, but they feel that within the campaign, what you wrote in the manifesto and what you went to say on the ground do not sync. And so you're finding it difficult trying to synchronize what the promises and the values and how you have to meet those promises you gave to those people in those areas, pertaining to what is in the party manifesto.
What is in the manifesto is that we have to regularize the small-scale industry, the mining industry in Ghana in general. How is that different from what we're doing?
No, what you told them on the campaign platform perhaps did not sync with the English you wrote in the party manifesto.
What did you hear me say on the campaign platform?
Well, you were in the Volta region. I'm not sure you told any other Ghanaians.
Well, I'm the minister for mines. And so I have to implement all related to mine. And so I am responsible. What did I say different from what I'm implementing, which is in the manifesto? The manifesto is a written document which becomes a contract given to me as a minister. I have to implement that. If somebody else says something differently on the platform, he is not in a position for implementation. I don't seem to understand what he means. I am the minister responsible for the sector. I have been given the mandate to implement the terms and conditions in the manifesto, and that is exactly what I'm doing. If others comes out to say things that are differently and have started no engagement with my sector, I don't see how that implementation can be done.
Well, thank you very much. Despite all my questions, we have to say we're all solidly behind you.
Thank you, my brother.
All right. And that's John Petermewu. He's a Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, giving us an insight into some of
the questions.
It's been answered.
No, it's not. Let me make my point again. And I'm just going to
just explain.
Let me make the point again. You see, but this morning, you know, John and myself we've worked together in the energy sector. We have been for many years.
I know him very well too.
Yeah, so he's my friend. But I realize that since over the period, because he's been roaming, there's a bit of stress. I realized that some of the questions you were asking, you just needed some clarifications. But he was a bit jittery and a bit agitated, and I don't know why. I think that he should relax because Ghanaians are supporting him. What he's doing, people want it. People are expecting that we will get results for it. So I don't have a problem with that. But again, back to your question that he had clarified, I just made it very clear. Of course, as a minister, he has a document that guides him. The social contract between his government and that of the people during the
end of matter.
That is one aspect. However, the point I have made and I continue to make is that I gave you an example. What we write in our manifesto and what we go on the platforms to tell people just in the desperate attempt to get votes sometimes don't match. And I use the example of the DKM issue. You know, even on your own portal, I'm talking of my job online. If I go there now, I can show you and just show it where
screenshots.
Yes, screenshot about where, for example, His Excellency the President promised people that he was going to pay them DKM. It wasn't in your manifesto.
To help them get their money right.
Then you have your finance minister who is supposed to champion the saying that he's not aware that these things are happening. But that being said, I think that look, the program to reclaim the lands is a very good one. And I support the government for that, because it is the way we should go. Two, I still also believe that in this quest to make sure that we have a sustainable exploitation of our metals, we should not do anything that would disadvantage the small-scale miners. The reason is this. Most often than not, if you want to emphasize on local content within the mining industry, one of the things we must be looking seriously is the small-scale industry, because most Ghanaians do not have the huge capital outlay to go in for the huge large-scale mining like the Anglo Golds and what have you.
Because of the
and if you want to have part of the value of the mining industry stay in Ghana, we must find a way of ensuring that the small-scale industries
that our locals also
participate. The only thing is that we must find a way of ensuring they do that in a sustainable manner.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so that's what we should go.
Well, the questions are just to make sure that, well, what we're being done on the human side, we also put a certain face to it, and so give them
and I think, just like you're saying, when now the people, it's an appeal to all those people who are involved. I know maybe the reclamation process, the monies they will get, they will not. It will not be equal.
It can never be.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we are saving our environment. We are protecting our future. So they should all understand and go through the process. Then, like Bawa said, at the end of the day, too, let's make sure our people, our locals, they benefit from the minerals that is in our land.
Thank you very much.
When we do that.
Thank you very much. Officials of the Bank of Ghana, they've exonerated the finance minister in the controversial $2.25 billion bond issued in April 2015. And we'll be discussing that very soon. But before we do that, let's go to the Ministry of Health. You know, nurses have been picketing, and the nurses were expected to have been posted to their various areas. Apparently, they've not been posted, despite the assurances by the various officials of government. And we have Patricia Gasu, who has been speaking to some of them, who they say have been living in squalor or other place.
but you are not after their assurance. You are only after clearance. So if they give it to us, we have no problem with them.
So until then, you're going to stay here?
Yeah.
Okay. I have your name, sir?
Abdul Ghani.
Abdul. From what region?
From Volta region.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, our being here is basically for our clearance. Because we've been home for a number of months now and haven't been posted.
How many months?
We've been home for 9 months after national service. Yes.
And your authorities didn't say anything to you, like continue with the service, or there was no way you could extend your service?
There's no way we could extend our service. It's a mandatory 1-year service. Apart from that, we need to be posted and then start work as staff nurses and midwives.
Okay.
Yes.
And I have Sakina,
Yeah. As my brothers have said, this morning we are having a press conference or press release. So whatever we have for the ministry, our final words will be in the press release. So we are begging you guys to stay behind it and capture us.
Okay. So whatever the ministry is going to say to you today, or whatever meeting you'll be having with them, would it change your decision to go back home, or you're still going to stay here?
Yeah, our going back home will depend upon the results we get, because we being here is not for any information. We want a material, that is the clearance. That is what we need. We've been here for 3 days in hardship. When it's night, we've been bitten by mosquitoes and stuff. So our being here purposely is for our clearance and nothing but that. So the decision is that the clearance is ready, we'll go home. But it's not ready, we'll still remain here until the clearance is given. Yeah. My pleasure.
So they're not ready to go back home until their clearance is given?
Well, so Patricia Gasso giving us that live report from the premises of the Ministry of Health. But Eddie?
Yeah, we can take a bite of this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's up for discussion.
I can wait.
Don't
take a bite on that.
You want to do a little politics?
No, it is not politics. You see, when we were constantly telling Ghanaians that the fact that you have somebody by name doctor attached to his name, it's not everything that he says that you should take it hook, line, and sinker. Our utterances sometimes catch up with us. You recall, just 100 last week, your company, not necessarily Joy TV, but I'm talking of Joy FM,
News.
Joy News, something. You had
Both
something,
TV, yes.
You had something in collaboration, the town hall,
days, yes.
town hall thing where the vice president, where they mentioned 103 achievements in 100 days, even though these are some of them were intentions and other things. The vice president indicated that they had engaged within the 100 days 11,000 nurses. True or false?
Yes, true.
Is it sometimes when you lie, and let me choose the words of the president himself, the vice president.
What do you mean by sometimes?
No, I'm coming. I'm not saying that who's lying. I've not mentioned that. I say generally, when you lie, you need to lie again in the afternoon. If you lie in the morning, you have to lie in the afternoon to cover the morning lie. In the evening, you have to lie again to cover the afternoon and the morning lies that you have given. The reason why I'm making this point is that you have the vice president tell all Ghanaians, as part of their achievements in the first 100 days, that they have hired 11,000 people. Then suddenly we have a situation where these nurses come here. We have indicated very clearly, and we are daring the vice president, for that matter, the Minister of Health, he should publish the 11,000 names or nurses who have been employed. Indeed, when this government came into office, as part of their haste to ensure that anything that was associated with the past government is deleted, the Ministry of Finance had given clearance for the hiring of 8,643 nurses. They told them all that they threw that into the bin and said they should all go back home. Today.
I remember a release.
So you remember that release. Then suddenly you come and tell us that you have hired 11,000. And within the 11,000, you have, the following week, you have nurses coming to, I don't know how many days they have in there. And I heard one of the guys.
They've been there since the weekend.
Yeah, so one of the guys saying that they have been exposed to mosquito bites and
the bad grades of the weather.
Of the weather. So basically, that's the case. And see, and this group of nurses, you remember when the His Excellency, the former president, at one of his media encounters at the Flagstaff House, had indicated that as part of government strategy in hiring health workers, they start first with those that go into government institutions. You remember he made that statement?
Yes.
And the reason was simple. These are students or graduates who are bonded. What it simply means is that when you have an agreement with the state that, look, after your completion, you will work for the state for a number of years. Mm-hmm. And so as we speak, these ladies and gentlemen cannot go to a private hospital and work because you have not relieved them of their bond. Meanwhile, you are also not engaging them. And the few that had been given clearance, that the 8,600 so, you have decided to throw that into the bin. And all you did was to come and present untruth to Ghanaians as part of your achievements.
What are you saying?
No, I am telling you that, look.
Is it not true that is it not true that they've been posted? They've been posted, but
give me one nurse you have posted within the 100 days. They're throwing figures around. Throwing figures around.
How many nurses are out there who are not employed? Bonded
My brother,
who are not employed.
You see, this is not difficult.
No,
the fact that you had a number, that was 11,000 means that there were names that were there that you counted. Look, I know this government. I know it very, very well. If they had the facts, if it was true, as we speak, when these students decided, or maybe the graduates decided to go and sleep at the Ministry of Finance, Health. I don't know whether they are at Health or even Finance. I don't even know, one of the ministries. They would have published what they have done and what they are continuing to do. How come that we have called on them to publish those names and they are not doing? So my point is
why should they go by pages in the Daily Graphic and be published?
They say your sin shall seek you. That's what the scripture says in Proverbs. Your sin shall seek you. The sins of the NPP and Baumia are now following him. And that's what we are finding this.
They will be elected to govern for the next 4 years.
Yeah, yes. So don't lie. Don't go and present untruth that you have hired 11,000 nurses when you have not done.
On the contrary, they're going for the next 4 years. They've already done 3 months.
On the contrary, you have rather made sure that the 8,643 people that we are giving clearance to, you have decided to throw them and tell them to go back home and sit. That is exactly what you have done.
Yes. What I wanted to say.
So you're saying they were lied to? The nurses were lied to?
Oh, they were lied to.
Okay.
They were lied to.
Now as we speak here, we don't know how many bonded nurses.
Okay, so we know that the conservative number we're talking about 11,000.
The whole.
Conservative 8,000 something are supposed to have been posted.
Yeah.
They've not received the clearance to go to their posting.
No, what I'm saying is, so you are saying for a fact that.
And that's the number that we know from the Ministry of Health.
You are saying that 11,000 nurses.
Conservative. That's the number we as media we work with. Yes.
That's what you work with.
Yes.
And
based on what official figures have told us. Yes.
And Eddie is surprised at how many of them here have
8,000 something were already said to would have been posted. I think another the last period of the NDC.
And now the communication says that 11,000 have been engaged. It's possible that some of them may be still
that decision taken by the NDC administration was suspended by the new Minister of Health.
Yeah, because he needed to look into it, and he came back to say that 11,000 of them have been engaged. Then after maybe you have some people also out there who have not been cleared, or bonded who have not been cleared, and it's just about 4 months into the administration, and Eddie is shouting on top of the roof that because of that.
Well, you said that your party and officials misled them.
Misled them that.
Well, that if you come, you do good by them. And so far, over 3 months into the administration, no show.
No, these guys. Did you hear the guy say 9 months?
Did you also see them? You see the picture.
9 months of service.
He said after 9 months of service, they are still out there. They have not been, and we have been in for just about 4 months.
And you know, there's also a batch of medical doctors who also have not been absorbed. Theirs have been suspended.
You know, theirs have been suspended
too.
No, so the thing is that what I'm saying now, what I want to say is that these people, they are picketing now. All these people will be taken care of. We appeal to all of these nurses who are out there who for some reason have not been given the.
Do you work with the Minister of Health?
No.
Minister of Health. Okay.
No.
Let's watch the press conference. We know that these scattering nurses are currently. This is a live press conference. Let's listen. Let's watch them.
From the media, upon meeting with the PRO of the said ministry, we are made to understand that our concern will be addressed with the necessary speed it deserves. For this reason, the leadership of this coalition have spoken to its members to remain calm and return to their various destinations whilst the leadership makes follow-up to the ministry for further deliberation. Ladies and gentlemen, from the media, we therefore bring to the notice of the stakeholders and the good people of Ghana that we are granting the Ministry of Health from 26th to 5th of May 2016-17 to resolve this issue amicably. Ladies and gentlemen, from the media, we therefore state emphatically that failure of the Ministry of Health to get us cleared and posted within the stipulated time will compel us to send our plea to the father of the land, His Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Ladies and gentlemen, from the various media houses, the leadership and members of this coalition will therefore use this opportunity to thank you all for the massive support given us. We say thank you and we are grateful. Aiko.
Your name, please. Pictures coming to you from the premises of the Ministry of Health, in which the bonded government nurses have just convened a press conference asking the Minister of Health to give them the assurance that they will be posted immediately. Remember, they've been picketing, but also squatting at the premises of the Ministry of Health over the last 3 to 4 days. Many of them have traveled far and wide or from the various nooks and crannies of the country to make sure that they picket at the premises of the Ministry of Health to enforce their concerns about their lack of posting. And Honorable Kojo Asemenyi was speaking on the subject.
Yes, so what I can say for now is that I'm very confident. Now they are out there, and I'm very confident. This is my belief that this is a government that listens. This is a government that wants the well-being of everybody. I mean, it's not. We can't. It's not understandable that somebody will finish school. The person is bonded. The person can go and work in any other institution apart from government, and we have a lot of shortages as far as nurses are concerned in the various government hospitals and government institutions, and they are also out there. I'm very confident that as soon as possible the ministry will work out something so that they all be taken on, and there will be sanity in the system. So they should just be rest assured. They said 26th, right? They said 26th of May, that's what they said.
No, from 26th of this month,
yeah,
which is today, to the 5th, or to the 5th of May. So you have only up to next week.
I think next week.
Yeah, I'm very confident.
On the 2nd is Wednesday, so Friday.
They can be engaged and something can be done about their situation. I don't want to go into what Bawa was saying because I know His Excellency the Vice President.
Edward.
And, Edward, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Edward, if we can hazard a guess, and okay, you haven't finished.
Yeah. I know he's very, truthful about what he says, and he's committed to what he says. So I know everything.
Well, he said the posting had been done, apparently.
No,
I'm not saying that he's
the
lying.
fact that these people are there doesn't mean that some postings have not been done.
So you are re-echoing what the Vice President said, that 11,000 nurses have been posted since you came to government in the past 100 days. Is that the point you are making?
If it wasn't true, he wouldn't have said it.
No, I'm just asking you. You are coming from the government side.
Mr. Bawa, what do you think perhaps may have been delaying the full release or approval of them to go to their various areas of posting?
Look,
because I know there's a suspension, that's why.
You see, the whole idea is that the government has been, quote unquote, talking about fiscal space. that they don't have figures, and their contribution towards that, because they have made that as as part of their way of trying to bring budget. When they were bringing the budget to Parliament, they indicated those things that have consumed most of our revenues were that's
like
compensation,
yeah.
that's compensation and wages, and they talked about the statutory funds, and you understand, interest payments and other things. Now, so in terms of compensation, what they would want to do is to ensure that they bring that in terms of the wage bill to a level that they can manage in their own estimation. I'm just talking about what the rationale behind their behavior. That being said, one of the things they are not telling Ghanaians is the fact that as part of their negotiations with the IMF, that they, remember when Dr. Bawumia was constantly telling people that in 2017 that the government of Ghana was going to begin to sack people. Remember that as part of, you remember that story, that we're going to sack people from public service. And
that is if they kept your government in power.
You're going
so
to
now
sack
your government is in power, so they will not sack people.
So
that's what you
then,
mean.
yeah, so what it means that they will not sack people. Then you have a situation where people who have been given...
Is this a sack or will not be employed?
No, they will be dismissed.
Wait. And yet it's a rationalized. That was a word.
No, Masa, from PAMSCAD. You remember the program of action to mitigate against the social cost of adjustment? From PAMSCAD, the EES, the Economic Recovery Program, they never use the word retrenchment. They use redeployment, rationalization of labor. What does this simply mean? It means one thing, go home and sit down. That's what it means. These are all Bretton Woods vibes that they use, that they make. And so when they say rationalize, these are the point they made. Part of the thing that they were kicking against is what they want to implement. They want to freeze the engagement of new staff into public services. And that's one of the reasons why they are not employing these people. We had indicated very clearly that that was never going to be true. And as part of our demonstrating that, one of the things we did was that we started hiring a lot of teachers, graduate teachers, particularly the graduate teacher program, hiring program that we did. Then we also went on to talk about dealing with these bonded nurses. But you came, you have put a halt on recruitment of teachers. You have decided those who had been given clearance to be posted, you decided to tell them they should go and sit in the house.
But they need to take a real look at some of these decisions.
I don't have a, you see,
so
governance is a continuum.
It's supposed to be a continuum.
It is a continuum. It is when people begin to look at governance to the extent that even certain jobs that are protected either by the Constitution or by Acts of Parliament, people look in the faces of such people and tell them to go. Do you know that the administrator of no get fund, the Business Service Common Fund, you know, he's been asked to proceed on leave, and Natushi has been brought in to take the place.
What's wrong with that?
This person is protected by the Constitution.
Does he have a security of tenure?
Yes, security of tenure. Right. And indeed, his appointment must be approved by Parliament. So the person is always vetted in Parliament. The person goes through that. He's protected by the Constitution.
By what means was he asked to step aside?
Masa, tell them what it means.
I've been hearing that on the news.
Finn has been asked. Mr. Finn has been asked to go home. Now, so now you know what they are doing. You are paying somebody. You have told somebody to proceed on leave. What it simply means technically is that if he's proceeding on leave, he must be paid. Then you have brought in a new administrator who is there now as the acting administrator, who has no parliamentary approval, who is not protected by the Constitution, but is also drawing salaries from the consolidated fund.
Point made.
Make your point.
No, the what?
We have to move on to the bond issue.
Yeah,
I don't want to close the thing without the bond issue.
Yeah, but you see that
the bond issue too is nice.
The government.
Because the finance minister has been cleared by...
Government is a continuous business, like you said.
I know Eddie doesn't like...
We need to have a look at some of the... Because most of the decisions were taken in bad faith. Some of the decisions... I mean, the last 2 months... Before
you say they were taking in bad faith...
They took a lot of decisions
in bad
like...
faith.
Yeah, some...
If you say in bad faith, what do you mean?
Like...
they didn't have the right to take it over because that we are coming to have an election. They shouldn't take decisions prior to the election. No, or even let's say after the elections.
After the elections, you know, the recruitment that went on, the contracts that were given out, and if you look into all these contracts, you see that people were rushing through the process just to get people, some companies or I mean, the recruitment and national service and all those things, they were done in such a way that it will benefit because they have the power and they don't care the consequences that will happen after. So we can't say government is a continuous process. So because of that, we should just let it go. We have to look into all. And this is what I think as a government we are doing this last 3 months, getting to 4 months, trying to look at all these and taking decisions. But with Natoshi and some of the important...
And then Dr. Atuata, for head of local government services, this is a bureaucratic institution. Then you go and bring a politician to head it.
No, but Dr. Atuata has been, he has an experience in that. He has been a local government person. He has all the knowledge.
No, but the person has the security of the go and look at the...
No, but
look at the local government.
I see the two of you want to fight.
Yeah, no.
So let's not fight.
Government Act.
We don't have as much information. Please, let's look at this. Officials of the Bank of Ghana, they've exonerated the Minister of Finance in a controversial bond issue. We know it's $2.25 billion. No comment on the other subject again. The officials appeared before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. I don't know whether you followed the proceedings yesterday. Yeah. But strictably, they're saying that he really did no wrong because the head of Financial Management Service at the Bank of Ghana, he says no single individual can skew the issuance of bonds to favor one person or the other, contrary to what the minority side in Parliament seems to
Again, it will come to some of the statement Eddie is making here. It will come to this because just like last 2 weeks, they were on top of the roof shouting that this is the deal of the year. The Osofo finance minister is now doing this and all the.
Is he a reverend?
He's not, but he's a Christian. Yeah,
I'm also a Christian.
They are using it against him that he has done some deal which is out of place and all those. The people who issue the bond does not come from Ministry of Finance. Bank of Ghana, the people who are in charge, now come out and say that, hey, these guys didn't do anything wrong. This is how it is done. We roll out our plan for the year, the bonds that, and if you look at all the bonds that have been issued, these guys have won most of them, and also the timing that they talk about, it looks like they are around the same 24 hours, 48 hours. I mean, the same range that they give the notice to people that hey, we are opening for the issuance of it.
You mean the opening and the closing period? Yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And
I think it's done for 72 hours.
Well, minimum. Rightly so, the people who are in charge, the Bank of Ghana people, have come to exonerate the minister, and for that matter,
you mean they've come to explain the issue?
New Patriotic Party, that this is not. There's no shady deal. There's a clean deal, and just one person cannot have influence in skewing into the other.
Very well. That should put the matter to bed.
Oh,
that's what I know. They will not put it to rest.
You see, let's first start by indicating. You don't expect anything different from this, from the.
These are officials. They are not politicians.
No. But yes, but
of the Bank of Ghana.
Yes, but this
officials
somebody,
of the Bank of Ghana.
Oh, but this is somebody who came and appeared before the Public Accounts Committee, and when Afenyo decided to smuggle in this question, you didn't expect him to say anything. But let's look at the facts.
You think it was a leading question?
You see, one, again, as an individual and somebody, an MP hailing from the north, I am excited that I have a brother who is a vice president in the person of Dr. Baumia. So I want him to succeed. No two ways about that, irrespective of the party in which he is. That being said, his conduct seems to be worrying a lot of people, a lot of Ghanaians, and I explain to you. This was the same vice president then candidate who had indicated that, look, Ghana was borrowing too much, and that the borrowing we're doing was not sustainable, and that their government, with competent men, people who like to read, will ensure that we will take the money, we'll get the money ourselves, through very innovative ways to raise revenue for development. We knew that was never true. Because if you want to assess somebody, you have to look at the person's past behavior. The NPP under President Kufuor, even in the face of enjoying a lot of HIPIC benefits, you know, because of the HIPIC that we entered into, a lot of debt was wiped off. Even with that, they borrowed to the extent that at the time they were leaving government in 2009, debt to GDP was about 40%. That's the first part. So we knew it was never going to happen. Now you come into government, and within 100 days, you have borrowed the CD equivalent of about 13.5 billion. It means that for every day, you borrow 135 million
the debt that we have,
at a coupon rate of 19.5%. You remember in 2015, when the NDC government went to the capital market to raise the 1 billion euro bond to retire part of the 2007 sovereign bonds and some of the domestic bonds, we borrowed it at a coupon rate of 10.75%. The NPP said they have never heard that before. Now, within that same period, the same type of bond, you have been able to go into the market and you are putting a coupon rate of 19.75%. And you tell us that you are a competent government. That's the first part. But I'll tell you why it is 19.5. And that is the part I disagree with this, the gentleman who made these statements. Now, ordinarily, any time bonds are going to be issued, what are the domestic bonds? There's a notice that is given. Under the NDC, you have a minimum of 3 days. And that's why he talked about the 72 hours. You have a situation where you opened it up around 9:30 something. And by 4 p.m., you had closed it. You had 2 main investors participating in this bond issuance. One of them took as much as 95% of the total that was given. Now let's look at this gentleman, and that is supposed to be a company, Franklin Templeton. Okay, so you remember that?
So
no, the point I'm making is that
Franklin
you have the finance minister.
Franklin Templeton is the company.
Yes.
And
Trevgan or something.
Trevgan.
It's a board member of this company.
In US terms, they call it director.
The same person is also a director in the enterprise group.
A non-executive director.
Irrespective of whatever it is.
It's a non-executive.
And you have a situation where this particular enterprise group, you have the finance minister's wife as a board member.
As a director, yes.
Yeah, board member and a director of the enterprise insurance.
She's a director.
Yes. So now, you look at, no, she's first a board member and then doubles also as a director of the enterprise. Yes.
But what's wrong with
that? Now, listen to me. The first thing is that, per our constitution, it is very clear that you cannot make sure, you cannot position yourself in such a way that your private interest conflicts with your public obligations. It is clear in the constitution. We do not know anywhere, whether through his vetting, through his public pronouncement, that he had any relation with these companies. Then suddenly we have this. Our point is this, that for the purposes of transparency, one of the things the NPP came into government with was the fact that, look, we wanted a government that will be transparent and accountable to the people.
Indeed, that's
what we have just said is that, based on this deal, based on the facts that are available to us, we are not saying the finance minister is wrong. But let's subject this to parliamentary scrutiny.
Is it not true? Whilst not cutting you off, that this company, Franklin Templeton, has been doing business with us over the years.
Oh, over the years, I agree. They have been doing.
So why should that change? Because we have...
it is the nature of it that the first thing is that you advertise this issuance in less than 24 hours. And this simply means that you have made in such a way that other participants will not have ample time to go into it.
So you're saying that
that's the first
the
thing.
nature of it doesn't make it
clear. So it's rather
there's no clarity. Okay.
Then the same guy comes in and then takes off 95% of these 2.25 billion.
The same guy who has been buying all the time.
I'm just coming, but we are looking at the transparency nature of it.
The 95 has always been there.
We're looking at how transparent this particular activity is. That is the point we're making. And if you look at the 19.75, one of the things I'm interested in is that if what we suspect and we believe is true, if what we suspect is true,
your own,
what is going to happen is that Ghana will be indebted to the finance minister and his cronies for the past. No, I'm coming. I said if it is true. No, I said if it is, we have a suspicion, and that's why we're asking for an investigation. That Ghana will be indebted to the finance minister and his friends and family members $400 million every year for 15 years. Ghana has been sold to a family. And that is what, if they think that what we are saying is not true, and they are sure that they are very transparent in their activity, they should subject this particular bond issuance to parliamentary scrutiny. They should subject it to an investigation. And let's see whether what they are saying is true. And I'm telling you, look, since last week or last 2 weeks, if you realize what the government has done, because this thing is so smelly, this thing is so stinky, what they do is that on daily basis, they introduce something to distract us from this. But I'm trying to tell you, you and your people, we will not leave this until we go to the bottom of it and see who is the beneficiary. And you know what is happening? Unfortunately, you have the vice president who is the cheerleader in chief for the finance minister, defending the finance minister. Why is the finance minister himself
wrong has the finance minister done?
Why? Look, ordinarily, me, I have worked in communications before. Ordinarily, what you do is that you have your subordinate coming out to talk on behalf of the boss, so that even if you slip, then the boss can come in and correct. And that's in communication that is done. Yeah. That's why you push somebody. You have your subordinate go to conduct a particular activity. Then he gets you, the boss, to come and be his spokesperson. And it's so funny. And that's why I'm so worried about the vice president.
No, did he organize a press conference to speak on?
Oh, from Washington, you remember?
No,
this was from Washington. And you know the other thing.
It was a question.
The question was put to him,
and you know why? Do you know why?
Now, according to the Bank of, it's okay.
Okay. No, but my last point. My last point. You know, there was something unusual that happened. You remember, Konyo? You remember when the finance minister came to Parliament to read the budget?
Yeah.
Ordinarily, since 1982 that we have done. I mean, normally the State of the Nation address, the Vice President will come, and then come with his President and the Chief Justice and other things. They come to sit in Parliament and they do. When the Finance Minister was coming to, the Vice President came to Parliament. But because Parliament had not prepared for him, they had to give him a chair by the majority leader. He was sitting there. And now what he was doing, anytime the Finance Minister spoke, then he would clap. That's why I described him as a cheerleader in chief. He was there praising the finance minister. Who is what kind of?
I mean, the vice president. And he works. They show the teamwork we are doing. They
now
want
the Bank of Ghana.
For him. That's the point.
Now the Bank of Ghana and the second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana also, they all appeared before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament. And in one of those questions said, in such a system, you cannot predetermine who the investor will be.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot predetermine because you put out the bonds you'll be selling in a year. You put out your plan, and those people who are interested in it will start what do you call it? Well, you have to watch the market and know when and see the way things are. It's those people in finance, they know it.
There's the dynamics of the market.
Yeah, you watch and you try to predict when these bonds will be issued out. And once they are issued, you come in and you get what you are supposed to get. What I want to say is that Eddie and his people.
Who are his people?
I mean, he said
Ghanaians. Eddie and his people.
No, I mean the minority.
I thought you meant Ghanaians.
No, I mean
because Ghanaians are worried about this.
Ghanaians are not worried about it. Eddie and his minority, I think they want to destabilize us. They want to
destabilize.
I mean, when I say destabilize, they want to let us lose concentration on the things we are doing, like the nurses thing, all the issues. We want to make sure we take our time and run them through and make sure everybody is okay. These things, they want to find fault with us with every little step that is taken. I think that
it's not trivializing the matter, that they just want to find fault with it. They've raised serious issues.
Because somebody you have been working with for the past 4 years or so. You have been, I mean, the Templeton people, the people you have been working with, all of us, and you have been giving them the opportunity to buy shares. And all of a sudden, because we are in power for 3 months, and now you say, oh, the director is this, why didn't you talk about all those when you were dealing with them? And all of a sudden, you
95% of the bonds are
the previous one. What happened?
Huh? No, that's the point I'm making.
No, advertise the issuance. It was less than 24 hours. Was head of our fundraising committee for the party. You knew it, and he was, and you knew that he was.
So he ran into that.
You knew that he's a shareholder in this templating company, and you were giving. He's the wife, and
he's a funding partner for Databank, which has about 36% shares.
So all these things, and what I'm saying, all these things you are talking about, you knew were related. You can't say that all of a sudden you got to know that this was that.
Who have been transparent, irrespective of your background.
Yes. So why do you want to all of a sudden?
Can you explain why you advertised? Can you explain why you moved away from the norm of having at least a minimum of 3 days to advertise these issuers to less than 24 hours?
My question to you is it the first time it has happened in the world?
What you want? We're talking about Ghana. Why you don't make the thing look big? Let's come to Ghana.
No. So
we have been doing that for a minimum of 3 days.
The fact that the time was short makes you very convinced that there was something fishy.
You never gave other people to partake in that. So that's the issue of transparency that we're talking about.
We have to call a close to our conversation this morning. We're back in the studio. Edward Bawa, who is a member of parliament for Bongo, and Kojo Asemenyi, who is an MP for Gomwa East. I tell you this man, you go to his area, he has a billboard there, he has his 2 numbers there, MTN numbers. Call him anytime. What are the numbers? Just mention this one, I'm giving free airtime. Mention the numbers where they'll call it.
We have the 0243.
Oh, I said mention the number. I didn't.
Does it mention?
Yeah, we have the 0243. 25 25 19. We have the 0541 22939. We have the 0543 43 03031.
Too many numbers to remember.
Yeah.
But so when your constituents call you, are you in a position to always speak?
I mean, not
once you're not engaged.
Like I'm here.
If you're not engaged, you pick.
I pick. And you see, the thing is that
I think you're one of a kind.
Yeah, I think.
No, but basically,
people like Edward Bawa, they are good friends. Immediately they enter into the position, you call them again, they don't.
No, let me tell you, and
now he's in opposition. So when you call him, he'll pick. Immediately he enters government, he'll not pick. That's
Roland,
how the politicians run. I'm not saying you.
Yes, but Roland, generally, and I can understand. If for an MP, your job is to also be a chief advocate for your people, and the way that communication has made it easier. It's not every time, and that's the point he was just making. It's not every time that they will call him and they'll be able to get him, because currently he's in the studios now. If you call him, it is not possible that on live TV he will pick.
When your people call you,
maybe
you pick?
Yes. When I'm able to pick, I pick them.
When you're what?
Able to pick. For example, currently as you speak now, I am unable to pick because I'm in the studios. Yeah. Or maybe you are in Parliament. Ordinarily, in Parliament, you are not supposed to pick calls in Parliament, so you can't pick.
I've watched many of my MP friends, and sometimes the calls that they will never pick. But I do understand the traumatic situation you guys go through.
Yeah, it's,
immediately they hear you're in the constituency, especially for those of you who could be located easily. You have a chain of people.
It is sometimes, if you're in the constituency, that's not a problem, because, for example, I was in the constituency.
Well, if you're in the constituency, you went there because of them.
Yes, they come home and you can have those discussions. But that time, you have all the time for them because you have come home because of that. Okay. And as an MP, you must be able to balance your activity in terms of your role in Parliament and then the way you interact or interface with the people at the constituency level.
All right. That's a communication.
And rightly so. Everybody, people say that all MPs should do that. You see, everybody should have a way to be in touch with
and that's your way.
That's
your way.
That's my way, and I think I'm getting.
When did you put the numbers there, during the campaign or?
No, just after. Because they kept on saying that, hey, when you go on house to house, they say these guys, it's because they want your vote that they are here.
So you want to tell them that?
Yeah.
How many terms do you want to go as an MP? As long as you
4.
Can. 4 terms.
Yeah.
This man.
16 years.
You think the seat is for you, Goma is?
Goma was it an NDC?
Edward
It was
Bawa
an
is a
NDC.
member of
I took
parliament
it-
for
I took
Bongo,
it from
and
you.
Kojo Asemenyi is a member of parliament for Gomoa East. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have more things to talk about on the show.